Assalamu alaikum and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another episode of Perceptive Learning Zone that is being hosted by me, Muhammad Hamza Nasser, and my good friend and colleague over here, Mr. Zain Kamran. Today, we just want to pick up from where we basically left off in the last session, right? We want to talk a bit more about the OA level stream as well as we see career counseling ki baat aur chalegi, right? That is like as per the usual norm. We basically plan to generate an awareness campaign sort of among people on these topics, especially about career counseling, because quite frankly speaking, when we were in that OA level phase of life, right, we did not have this much awareness, as a result of which a lot of us, made a lot of miscalculated decisions, because of which we are still we are still being haunted by those mistakes we did, right? So hopefully you guys don't get to make the same mistakes we did, and this is where we come exactly in the picture to help you learn from our experiences, from our perspective, from what we saw with our eyes, right? Today's agenda is going to feature discussions on choosing between OA levels and matric FSA, what should be the subject selection, especially at O levels and A levels. I'm going to be asking Mr. Zaim about the pros and cons of online learning as well as campus-based learning, right? And how to overcome these psychological challenges, right? We're going to be delving a bit more into this debate between degrees and skill sets, and furthermore, we will also discuss some resources for OA levels, especially at this stage, right? So I would say let's begin it one step at a time, right? So what have you got for me, Mr. Kamran?
Well, I think some people would like to know how to choose between O levels and metric.
All right, choosing between matriculation and O levels. Thank you. This is a very important question, right? Right now, we're working Lahore in City School Paragon as a career counselor. I often get this a lot because I happen to be teaching grade seven maths. And after grade seven, that is when you get to start thinking about whether I want to go down the O level phase or whether I want to enroll in the matriculation stream. So let's do a very honest, comparative analysis of the two systems of education. देखिए बदकिस्मती से कहना पड़ता है कि सैडली कहना पड़ता है बदकिस्मती से कि जहां तक क्वालिटी की बात करते हैं ना, देयर इज नो कंपैरिजन, राइट? एज फार एज क्वालिटी ऑफ एजुकेशन इज कंसर्न, देयर इज नील जीरो कंपैरिजन बिटवीन ओ लेवल्स एंड मैट्रिक। इस वक्त 10-15 साल पहले फिर भी थोड़ा बहुत क्वालिटी का एलिमेंट था, बट राइट नाउ ट्रेंड्स हैव डिटीरियोरेटेड सो मच, वी हैव डाइग्रेस सो मच। मतलब इंटरमीडिएट सेक्टर के इस वक्त इतने बुरे हालात हैं कि you would not want to take even one student out of OA levels and put him into matric FSC, right? So quality wise, O levels is light years ahead of matriculation, right? I would definitely say coming from OA level backgrounds, right, that this Cambridge education, right, the Cambridge international education, it does make students lifetime learners, right? उसके अलावा हटके अगर आप मुझे बोलें कि मैं तबसरा करूँ इस टॉपिक के ऊपर, राइट, आई वुड से देखें जहां तक आप बात करते हैं सब्जेक्ट्स के हवाले से, इट डजंट मेक अ डिफरेंस। ओ लेवल्स एंड मैट्रिकुलेशन दे बोथ गॉट द सेम 8 सब्जेक्ट्स। अलबत्ता जहां तक हम ओ लेवल्स में ग्रेडिंग की बात करें तो वो थोड़ा ए स्टार से यू ग्रेड्स के ऊपर बेस्ड होते हैं, राइट? जबकि मैट्रिकुलेशन में यू गेट मार्क्स, यू गेट स्कोर्स आउट ऑफ 1100 टोटल, राइट? Upar say, if you talk about the learning model, if we quintessentially speaking talk about the learning models of both O level and matriculation holistically, I think that is the most important question, right? That what is being tested in each system, right? मुझे किन parameters के ऊपर evaluate किया जाएगा और क्या उन parameters को evaluate करने के लिए am I naturally prolific to ace those requirements, right? So in matriculation, I would say there is massive emphasis on lower order skills like retention, memory, knowledge and understanding, right? So if you अगर आपके लिए हिफ्स करना, रोट लर्न करना, जो अगर आपको उसमें दुश्वारी का सामना करना पड़ता है या मुश्किलात से आप दो चार होते हैं, then I would say do not go for matriculation, right? So in matriculation you have lower order skills like retention, memory, knowledge, understanding. O levels भी इन skills को टेस्ट करती है, ऐसे नहीं कि नहीं करती। O levels में भी retention की बात आती है, memory की बात आती है, knowledge की बात आती है, understanding की बात आती है। However, that being said and done, O levels focuses more on higher order skills like application, analysis, as well as evaluation. So that is my take on the matter.
That brings me to a related question. Should a student be choosing A levels or FSC?
Right. That's another very good question. And once again, a very commonly asked question. Once again, quality wise, no. comparison, right? A levels is far ahead of FSC in terms of quality of education, right? I mean, that's a no-brainer, right? अब देखिए बात कोई आती है we I mean, Ms. Carmen said more often than not, we're all guilty, that we often seek wrong advice, right? Or we follow friends to make decisions that aren't compatible with our long-term career trajectory. You see, deciding one's future, so that is a complicated process indeed. हमने इसको एक sort of एक जुआ बना लिया, right? जो होना नहीं चाहिए, right? इसके लिए बहुत ज़्यादा आपको सोच विचार की जरूरत पड़ती है, right? So what I will say is, guys, for those of you who are confused whether to go for A levels or FSC, अब डिपेंड करता है कि आपने लॉन्ग टर्म में करना क्या है। अगर तो आप वर्स करते हैं कि जी हमने स्टडी करना है और हमने बाहर अब्रॉड सेटल करना है, राइट, वी वांट टू मूव आउट, right, because of the current volatile socioeconomic conditions, because of the insane political climate. I mean, it has always been insane, right? But now, especially, it's like bordering on crazy, right? So, if you want to study and settle abroad, then give your preference to A levels, right? वैसे भी A levels में तो आपके बहुत सारे interesting programs आ गए हैं, like AP Advanced Placement, IP International Baccalaureate, right? वैसे भी if you want to study in Pakistan, right? There are some universities that do prefer A-level students, like Lahore School of Economics, LUMS, IBA, AKU in Karachi. उनके तो entry test भी SATs, SAT based format के ऊपर होते हैं. So the A-level system of education actually helps you if you want to go for these sort of universities. At the same time, if you explore the other side of the coin, I would say there are some universities like Punjab University, UET, GCU, FC College, that do prefer the local intermediate system of education, right? If you say that I want to go for CSS, right, all rote learning, complete rote learning, complete memorization, CSS karna, go for FSC, right? FSC is also a good idea, I would say, if you are planning on doing MBBS from local institutes. Yeah. बाहर से एमबीबीएस बहुत आपको महंगा पड़ेगा, बहुत ज्यादा। ऊपर से ये है कि अगर आप ए लेवल्स करके एमबीबीएस में जा रहे हैं, तो आईपी आपकी जो इक्विवेलेंसी जब होती है, राइट, आईपीसीसी जब आपकी इक्विवेलेंसी करते हैं, राइट, सो वो परसेंटेज आपकी गिर जाएगी। बहुत से लोग हैं वो दोबारा एफएससी इसलिए करते हैं बिकॉज उन्हें पता है कि उनकी परसेंटेज ए लेवल्स करके आईबीसीसी इक्विवेलेंस में गिर जाएगी। सो स्पेशली फॉर दोज ऑफ यू आर प्लानिंग ऑन बिकमिंग डॉक्टर्स इन दिस लोकल पाकिस्तानी मेडिकल कॉलेजेस, राइट, गो फॉर एफएससी। उसके बाद देखिए कुछ सब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं आपके लॉ की तरह, मिसाल के तौर पे जो इंटरमीडिएट बैकग्राउंड में आपके पास नहीं होते। वैसे भी अगर आपने फिल्म या मीडिया स्टडीज अब्रॉड जाके करनी है, सो यू कैन स्टडी दिस कोर्सेज इन ए लेवल्स, बट यू डोंट गेट दिस ऑप्शंस इन द लोकल पाकिस्तानी करिकुलम। बाकी अगर आप बात करते हैं कि यूनिवर्सिटीज की रिक्वायरमेंट्स क्या है, राइट, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली व्हेन यू हैव टू डिसाइड वेदर टू चूज ए लेवल्स और एफएससी, you have to think of what the university is going to ask also, right? Because jana aapne iske baad university hai. So they can universities, they require minimum of 2 to 3 A level subjects, right? Back in the day, some would even require 4 to 5, right? Nowadays, it's 2 or 3 generally. Intermediate students must do at least 7 subjects. So at the same time, I know a lot of people who are saying कि हम A levels इसलिए करें पाकिस्तान से ताकि हम A levels के बाद बाहर यूनिवर्सिटी पढ़ने चले जाएं. And here's what I want to say to you fellas: if you want to go abroad, do not wait to complete A levels in Pakistan. You can actually move out after O levels and do a foundation year. वैसे भी क्या होता है, I know a lot of students, right, who don't do that well in A levels, right? और वो जब जाते हैं बाहर यूनिवर्सिटी तो उन्हें कहा जाता है कि आपके जो ए लेवल रिजल्ट है वो इतने अच्छे नहीं है कि आपको हम डायरेक्ट अंडर ग्रेजुएट प्रोग्राम एडमिशन दे दें। Therefore, what you got to do is you got to undergo a foundation year program, right? So it saves you the time as well as the money associated with the A level process. अगर आपने दोबारा वो आपको foundation program करना ही पड़े अगर आपके grades खराब हैं. So I would say after O levels, don't do your A levels in Pakistan. Just go abroad, do the foundation year program. एक साल के foundation year program के बाद आप सीधा यूनिवर्सिटी में अंडर ग्रेजुएट बाहर पढ़ाई स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं, राइट? फाउंडेशन ईयर प्रोग्राम का और ये बहुत बड़ा एडवांटेज होता है कि you get more polished, you get more refined, right? You get to hone in on your target areas, work on overcoming your weaknesses, rectifying your deficiencies, right? Or also that foundation year, that 1 year experience abroad, that gives you enough time to consult people, right? To think about your future, really see yourself 10, 15, 20 years from now, what sustainable format of the industry is most suited to you, right? So you get to decide whether you want to opt for a particular career or not. A lot of people call it the foundation year. I personally call it, I've never done a foundation year program, but from what I've heard, it's less a foundation year and more of a deciding year, as simply because you get to reflect on your choices. So I hope that answers the question.
I'd just like to weigh in that as someone who has been teaching metric and FSC and O levels, and as someone who has done a foundation year, first of all, as long as you have the right motivation, as long as you keep yourself motivated, open your mind to possibilities. You can figure anything out. And as for the foundation year, as someone who has done it, I did my foundation year in Malaysia, after which I moved on to my bachelor's, and I can honestly say it is a very helpful thing, not just academically, but in every other aspect of life as well. I went to that country. I was, of course, new over there, and the foundation year basically gives you the time to hone your skills, to find out what you're good at, or which subject, which direction your mind is more inclined to. And by the time you get to your A levels or your bachelor's, you already know where your mind is, and you can make an informed decision. And it also gives you the time to open your mind up to the new space, the new environment that you're in. It makes you really appreciate the culture and the world that you can already see is ahead of you. So I definitely recommend taking a foundation year.
Fantastic. Lovely advice indeed. Um, now
Okay,
let's move on.
so let's talk about selecting our subjects during O levels.
Right. Subject selection O level, this is a very hot topic of discussion, right? And it has to be, right? It's a very, very critical decision that you make, right? You see, O levels is the only field, I would say, in the academic life of a student that provides almost 11 years of results. So you can say in many ways the O level result, it is the main result that matters. University admissions, they prioritize O level results. बहुत सी universities में आप apply करते हैं तब आपके A level का result नहीं आया होता. So you have admission being done on the basis of O levels, right? Uh, if you talk about the importance of this O level result from the IBCC point of view, the IBCC equivalency formula, ladies and gentlemen, grants 78% weightage to O level results and only 22% weightage to A level results. There is an 8 subject requirement, right? अगर हम बात करें O levels के subjects के बारे में, तो आपने कम से कम 8 subjects करने, right? There's an 8 subject requirement, जिसमें से 5 subjects तो हर हाल में आपके लिए compulsory है ही है. Doesn't matter which field you want to go for, 5 subjects जो आपने करने ही करने, वो क्या है आपके mathematics, English, Islamiyat, Pakistan studies, as well as Urdu. अब देखिए उर्दू की दो टाइप्स हैं, उर्दू ए और उर्दू बी. Yeah, Alpha and Bravo, right? They both carry equal weightage. But कहा जाता है उर्दू बी के बारे में that it is a bit easier for those students who are weak in Urdu. And look, I mean, for me, the word easy and difficult is just hocus pocus, right? I mean, it's all relative, right? If you put in the hard yards, right, anything can become easy for you, right? However, कहा ये जाता है कि उर्दू ए थोड़ा challenging होती है बच्चों के लिए, but I would say, so in case you're struggling with basic Urdu concepts, because A star in Urdu से अभी भी अली बे पूरी नहीं आती, right? So I would say definitely go for Urdu B. All right, so अब देखिए उर्दू पाकिस्तान स्टडीज और इस्लामियत जो है ना, जो हमने इनमें से अगर हम तीन की बात करें, उर्दू पाकिस्तान स्टडीज एंड इस्लामियत, ये तो पाकिस्तानी स्टूडेंट्स के लिए कंपल्सरी है ही है. इसमें एग्जाम्शन किसी को मिल सकती है इन तीन सब्जेक्ट्स के बारे में अगर हम बात करें, उर्दू पाक स्टडीज एंड इस्लामियत. यस, exemption is only for those who are Pakistani students and have done OA levels from outside Pakistan, right? However, keep this in mind that if you are a Pakistani national, bro, if you have done O levels abroad and you return to Pakistan for A levels, the exemption won't be applicable to you. Yes, the exemption won't be applicable to you. तो ये जो आपके 5 कंपल्सरी सब्जेक्ट्स हो गए, राइट, मैथमेटिक्स, इंग्लिश, इस्लामियत, पाकिस्तान स्टडीज और उर्दू, ये तो है ही है. उसके बाद हम आते हैं इलेक्टिव्स के ऊपर, राइट? So after these 5 compulsory subjects comes the option of 3 electives. So if you want to go into medicine, right, for medical students, you have physics, chemistry, and biology, right? If you talk about engineering students, or if you talk about those who have an affinity for computers, right, physics, chemistry, and computer science. और अगर हम बात करें नॉन इंजीनियरिंग और नॉन मेडिकल स्टूडेंट्स के बारे में, आई वुड से गो फॉर इकोनॉमिक्स, accountancy, and business studies. And fellas, one very important thing for you to factor into consideration, that is the IBCC equivalency formula. It does not calculate the grade for additional subjects. So that's pretty much my take on this.
Okay, on to the next part of this question, subject selection at A levels.
Right. देखिए, I always believe in the fact, Zaim Saab, that one should be rational, not impulsive. Nowadays, a lot of times, we are, dealing in terms of assumptions. We're dealing in terms of conjecture. Don't be opinionated. Be more factual. Opinions most of the times they're just based on emotions. 95% of the times it is not good to, think using emotions. You should have a rational mindset towards life. That's what I always say, right? So always try to play with facts. Zindagi mein, there will be some important facts and there'll be some unimportant facts. Like, what would some unimportant facts be for our listeners? Some unimportant facts for our listeners would be some 50, 60 things that we did today, you and me, right? But what's the important fact? That we came here on time for this session, right? So stick with the important facts to lead a life of value, right? Understand that performance is a product of ability as well as aptitude. Now, your IBCC equivalency formula does depend on the O level grade, right? There are three conditions that need to be satisfied for selection of science subjects in O levels. अगर आपने खास तौर पे अगर हम O levels में अगर हम बात करें, I know you asked me about O levels, right? लेकिन you asked me about A levels, right? लेकिन ये चीज O levels हो या A levels हो, अगर आपने science subjects पढ़ने हैं ना, तो आपने ख्यास ख्याल रखने के number one, if you're planning on going for science subjects in A levels, make sure you got good grades in those subjects in O levels, right? I would say minimum, make sure you have a B grade. वो भी मैं समझता हूँ कम से कम A होना चाहिए. But minimum, you gotta make sure you got a B in your O-level science subjects if you're planning on taking those science subjects in A levels. If you have less than a B, then guys, honestly, you have two choices, right? Either drop the concept of A levels, ना तो A levels mat kare, or do the O levels again, right? Varna pair, you stand at a big risk of wasting time, money, and effort. On top of it, I would say if you want to go for A levels, just make sure you're willing to work hard, make sure you're willing to work long hours, right? And you plan on pursuing science in the long run. ये नहीं कि जी हम साइंस इसलिए करें बिकॉज हम कल को स्विच कर सकते हैं, नहीं स्विच करें तो भी करें, right? I know plans change with the passage of time, right? But if you put in this much peak rhythm and energy of yours in doing one thing and then swapping at the end of the day, right? It won't give you that sense of feeling of, what should I say, settlement. So if you plan on doing chart accountancy, then study commerce subjects in the first place. Economist, but then study commerce in the first place, right? Now, साइंस स्टूडेंट्स की अगर हम बात करें खासतौर पे उन खवातीन हजरात के जिन्होंने एडमिशंस लेने कल को मेडिकल कॉलेजेस में, you should take 4 subjects, right? You should take 4 subjects: physics, chemistry, biology, and mathematics. Mathematics देखें हर जगह आते जिंदगी में. There's that saying in life, as a maths teacher myself, right, who had mastered the subject back in O levels, that maths is a universal language, comes everywhere. You love maths will facilitate you at each and every juncture of life. Similarly, if you run away from maths, guys, is going to torture you everywhere 24/7. So maths एक तो आपका मेडिकल एरिना में आता ही आता है, contrary to popular opinion कि डॉक्टर्स को मैथ्स की जरूरत नहीं है. News flash, you need it, right? And it is also a good backup plan, right? चाहे आप economics consider करें या chart accountancy consider करें या engineering consider करें as a plan B, right? So nowadays, honestly speaking, in my time, I had 5 subjects in my A levels: physics, chemistry, economics, A level maths, and further maths. It is recommended nowadays to go for 3 subjects, with the focus being on principal subjects and then going for extra subjects, except for medical students. So, जिन students ने admission लेना engineering universities में, उन्हें A levels में कम से कम जो 3 subjects लेने पड़ेंगे, that is very important for them. उसके अलावा कोई चारा नहीं है, that is physics, chemistry, and mathematics. So these are compulsory if you want to continue in the engineering sector in Pakistan, especially chemistry. Now, if you say that I want to become a computer scientist, well, guess what? You can take computer science instead of chemistry. In that case, आपको A levels में 3 subjects लेने होंगे: maths, physics, and computer science. Now, there's a subtle difference between computer science and IT, that is information technology. देखें, कंप्यूटर अक्सर लोगों को इसका पता नहीं होता, मुझे भी काफी अर्से नहीं पता इसके बारे में कि कंप्यूटर साइंस और IT में क्या फर्क है, right? So computer science, understand this, fellas, it is a specialized subject for programming. It is a specialized subject for programming, while IT जो है ये एक general field subject कहलाया जाता है. Like, using MS Office, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, presentation. And it's useful for everyone. It's a skill set, right? So an individual, one more thing. An individual can study economics and accounting in A levels without having to study it in O levels, provided you have a good result in O level maths as well as O level English, right? So बाकी फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री सब आपको ओ लेवल्स में पढ़नी पड़ती है, राइट? सो मैं खुद अगर पर्सनली बात करूं, सो आई हैड बायोलॉजी इन माय ओ लेवल्स, एंड माय ए लेवल्स आई स्टूडियड बायोलॉजी विद इकोनॉमिक्स, राइट? आई हैड नो बेसिस मैंने O level economics कभी नहीं पढ़ी. A level economics में alhamdulillah I had an A, right? So just saying कि it is doable, not too difficult. Yeah. अब एक चीज का आपने ख्याल रखना. I see a lot of people nowadays. I ask them what are the subjects you got in A levels. They say we got three subjects: accounting, economics, and business studies. That is wrong, right? Accounting, business studies, and economics, fellas, they are regarded as 2.5 subjects. They're regarded as 2.5 subjects, not three subjects. Why is that the case? Because the syllabus of business studies, it partially overlaps with that of economics and accounting. So if I were you, I would keep economics, accounting, business studies, as well as maths, right? So I hope that answers this question.
Okay. What other additional subjects would you recommend?
Yeah, this is a good one, guys. I mean, like guys, I won't say take as many additional subjects like Ali Muin Nawazish. I mean that guy was in some other level. He was on some other planet. But yeah, it's good to take a couple of additional subjects. I know some people they're taking sociology and stuff. That's a good one. I personally, back in the day, I had ad maths, additional mathematics in O levels. Right. I think nowadays a lot of schools don't offer that anymore for some reason. But ad maths is good if you give it in O levels because again, A level maths you have four components: P1, P3, M1, and S1. And if you talk about A level maths P1, that is a condensed, easier and simplified version of O level art math. So उसका मुझे frankly speaking बहुत edge हुआ था अपने A levels में. Additional mathematics और sociology के साथ साथ आप लोग जो हैं global perspective भी पढ़ सकते हैं. That is also another good subject. That's worth considering. And now that we've talked about recommended additional subjects, I think I'm just going to take a breather for a sec and just start transition the flow back towards you, Zaimsa. So nowadays, a lot of students, they have this question, right? Obviously, we live in the post-COVID era where online classes have become a norm, right? Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, they have become LIT, right, with a capital L. And a lot of students complain about lack of motivation, regarding online classes and stuff. And obviously, different students have different challenges. A person in matriculation has his own set of challenges. A person in O levels has his own set of challenges when it comes to online learning, right? It was supposed to help you with multitasking, but slowly but surely, what we have seen is it is making students more and more redundant, more and more obsolete. So us millennials especially, we went through the good old days when we had, campus classes, then COVID came, everything changed, we went towards this online stuff, right? And where you and I, abroad, we did a lot of online studies, right? So आप इस पूरे प्रोसेस से गुजरे ऊपर से आपने अकेडमीज में ओ लेवल वालों को भी पढ़ाया हुआ है, मैट्रिक एफसी वालों को भी पढ़ाया हुआ है, आप कैंपस आप फेस टू फेस भी पढ़ाते हैं, आप ऑनलाइन भी पढ़ाते हैं. So from a student perspective as well as from a teaching perspective, what are your experiences of the pros and cons of online classes, and what advice would you give to your students to when it comes to overcoming these challenges?
सबसे पहले तो as we have seen that ever since COVID, online and the digital era has become very prominent, and और उसके बाद से तो there has been a huge digital shift in the entire world, including Pakistan. And हम millennials की जहाँ तक बात है, we were born and raised in an era जब ये online, digital, internet, technology, none of this existed. We saw it developing and we saw it changing the world. We saw how it changed our lives. But even we were not ready for such a drastic shift.
True.
I remember when I was doing my master's, उसी वक्त the COVID outbreak happened right at a time when I was in my second semester, and all our classes, everything was in person, obviously on campus. But then we had to have the sudden shift to online classes. And उस वक्त I had not used Zoom or Microsoft Teams, Google Meet वगैरह ये चीज़ें. I hadn't used them before that. So of course, for someone like me, it was a challenging transition. But कहते हैं ना जिंदगी में जैसा मौसम हो बेहतर है कि उसको वैसा एक्सेप्ट कर लो and just go along with it. That's what we did because we had to move forward. But जो मैंने देखा है कि एक तो but a lot of people nowadays do prefer online classes because एक तो we are going through an economic recession, so a lot of people are worried about their fuel expense. और दूसरी बात ये कि स्कूल से आके तो people are too tired कि अब हम अकेडमी भी जाएं. So a lot of the time उनको ट्यूशन की जरूरत पड़ती भी है तो they a lot of them prefer कि हमें कोई ऑनलाइन जो है ट्यूटर मिल जाए. So that's a bit less challenging for them. They can do it from the comfort of their own bedroom. And class khatam karke, though they don't have to get up and go back home. So that minimizes that factor कि आप to and fro करते हुए थक जाते हो. But so yeah, a lot of people do prefer online classes, but on the other hand, मैंने ये भी एक चीज़ देखी है, मैं ऑनलाइन भी पढ़ाता हूँ and in person भी पढ़ाता रहा हूँ. So what I have noticed a lot is a lot of people still prefer कि in person जो है mode of learning हमारा होना चाहिए. We should have in person classes. A lot of students या most of their parents feel कि हमारे बच्चे तो बहुत distracted रहते हैं. They're very easily distracted, so online classes won't help. Some people think that COVID was a nightmare जब उस वक्त ऑनलाइन करना पड़ा था, बट वो मैनेज नहीं हो रहा था because too many distractions एक तो होती हैं, और ऊपर से इंटरनेट के इश्यूज भी बहुत होते हैं. और स्पेशली आजकल तो वी बीन फेसिंग लॉट ऑफ इश्यूज विद इंटरनेट. तो उस चीज़ की वजह से भी, मतलब क्लास लेते लेते कभी इंटरनेट कनेक्शन की वजह से क्लास डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाती है अनफॉर्चुनेटली. बट सो a lot of people still think कि या तो हमें होम ट्यूशन मिले कि हमारे घर आके पढ़ा दे, या फिर हमें जो है हम बेशक अकेडमी चले जाएं. तो मेरा ख्याल है कि देयर नीड्स टू बी अ बैलेंस बिटवीन ऑनलाइन क्लासेस एंड इन पर्सन क्लासेस. अगर मतलब कोई अकेडमी है जहाँ बच्चे ट्यूशन के लिए आ रहे हैं, तो वो ऑनलाइन क्लासेस भी हों, इन पर्सन भी हों, ताकि जिस दोज हु आर विलिंग एंड एबल टू कम्यूट वो इन पर्सन क्लासेस ले लेंगे, एंड दोज हु आर मोर इंक्लाइंड टुवर्ड्स ऑनलाइन क्लासेस वो ऑनलाइन भी ले सकते हैं. इफ दे थिंक कि अच्छा, इस अकेडमी का ये टीचर जो है बहुत अच्छा टीचर है, मैंने इनसे पढ़ना है, लेकिन मैं तो ऑनलाइन पढ़ना चाहता हूँ, वो तो मुझे वहाँ तो मुझे इन पर्सन जाना पड़ेगा. बट इफ यू हैव बोथ ऑप्शंस, that kind of concern gets minimized. But और इसके that having said that, मैं ये एडवाइस भी करूँगा that um, हम अगर ये सोचते हैं कि इन पर्सन जाना बड़ा मुश्किल है, या हम ये सोचते हैं ऑनलाइन क्लासेस जो हैं वो है बहुत चैलेंजिंग है क्योंकि बहुत डिस्ट्रैक्शंस होती हैं, देयर आर वेज टू ओवरकम इट. बिकॉज वी टीचर्स हम बहुत मेहनत करते हैं अपने स्टूडेंट्स के ऊपर, पढ़ाने में भी, उनको अकोमोडेट करने में भी. बिकॉज ऑफ कोर्स वी वांट आवर स्टूडेंट, हमारा क्लाइंट है, वी डू वांट देम टू बी सेटिस्फाइड. वी आल्सो वांट कि हम उनको पढ़ाई क्वालिटी एजुकेशन डिलीवर कर सकें. सो एडवाइस वुड बी कि एक तो इन पर्सन क्लासेस के जो चैलेंजेस हैं वो आप ओवरकम करने की कोशिश करें, कि थोड़ा सा जो है ट्राई करें दैट यू डोंट फील कि मैं किस तरह हो जाऊं. जस्ट थिंक कि इन पर्सन क्लासेस में आपको वो जो इंटरेक्शन मिल जाती है, you just think of that and think कि जो इन पर्सन में क्वालिटी आपको मिल सकती है वो might be much better. और दूसरी तरफ those who face challenges in online classes, उनको मैं ये कहूँगा that if a teacher is giving you online classes, वो आपको accommodate भी करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. So when you say कि distractions बहुत हैं, what you can do is you can try to minimize those distractions. And as for parents, they can try to advise their children कि क्लास के टाइम सीरियस होकर क्लास ले लो, पढ़ लो, लेकिन देन क्लास के बाद यू कैन डू व्हाटएवर यू वांट. अब और अगर आपको फोकस करने में मुश्किल होती है, तो टीचर कैन ऑलवेज गिव यू अ ब्रेक बिटवीन योर क्लासेस. ठीक है, बट आई वुड सजेस्ट कि कुछ बैरियर्स हैं जो हम खुद अपनी तरफ से ओवरकम कर सकते हैं, तो वो हम करने की कोशिश जो है ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा करें. एंड जस्ट बी माइंडफुल ऑफ द फैक्ट कि हमारे टीचर्स जो हैं वो भी हमें अकोमोडेट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, हमारे लिए बैरियर्स ओवरकम करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. सो इन द एंड, चाहे आप इन पर्सन क्लासेस चूज करो या ऑनलाइन क्लासेस चूज करो, जस्ट बिलीव कि वो ऑब्स्टिकल्स का टीचर भी ओवरकम कर सकता है, और अगर टीचर कर सकता है तो आप खुद भी ओवरकम कर सकते हैं. सो दैट वुड बी माय एडवाइस.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Zito. That was a fantastic contribution from your side. And the thing is, I would just like to add one more thing, right? Don't ever think that we magically just we just came into these teaching positions, right? We have been through this phase, right? We have been students ourselves, and 10 years ago, and I think I said this in the last session also, 10 years ago, If you look at the quality of results of O levels, for example, in Lahore, and if you compare it today, Samina Asman ka fark hai. Nowadays, the results absolutely, in the gutter nowadays, if you compare it to 10 years ago, right? Interestingly, उस जमाने में इतनी academies नहीं थी, इतने schools नहीं थे जितने आज हैं. आज access and facilities की. You also have much more teaching resources. I mean, we have no chat GPT, right?
Mhm.
So, but still, despite all that, the results have gone down. Why? That shows you the fact, that proves to you the fact that it's not just about the teacher. Yes, it's not just about the resources, it's not just about the institutions, it's not just about the academies. It's on you at the end of the day. If you want to do something, you'll find a way. If not, I mean, you're just gonna find an excuse, my friend, right? So that's why I say the words easy and difficult are not in my dictionary. So understand this कि life is not a bed of roses. जन्नत इस दुनिया में आपको कहीं नहीं मिलनी. You will get difficult circumstances and you have to make the most out of them. If you say, you know what, I can't perform well because I'm in the middle of a crisis, well, this is God giving you an opportunity to become a good crisis manager. So think of everything from a positive angle, right? And it's not your fault that you're born in this era. It's not your fault that you were, introduced to this background. But where your fall destination is going to be, right? Here from ground level, how far you go up, that is going to be on you. It was believed that the cell phone was going to transform lives, and to an extent, it has. I mean, we're not. I mean, we are no luddites, right? I mean, I got a cell phone myself. We're speaking on a laptop, right? I mean, we're recording on a laptop as we speak. But I really abhor this worshipping attitude of technology. The cell phone was supposed to be this gadget was supposed to be a means of multitasking. Instead, what it has become is it has become a major productivity black hole that has also ripped apart the social and moral fabric of our society. So एक चीज को सही तरह यूज करना या गलत यूज करना, that is on you fellas. We here as your mentors, as your sort as your teachers, right, as your guides, whatever you want to call us, right, we have been through the system, we can advise you, but we ain't your grandpas. Yeah, we ain't babysitters. It's on you how you choose to use that advice, whether you want to benefit from that advice or whether you don't want to benefit from that advice. Back in school, we teach maths to students. Students come in the class 10 minutes late and they sit in the lecture thinking that they have done their teacher a big favor. That's what I tell them, guys, by coming to class, you do me no favors. Rather, it's me who does you a favor. You know, if we give you advice, it is for your benefit. If you listen to it, आपका अपना ही फायदा नहीं. Your teachers don't stand in need of your grades. ऐसे बोला जाता है. हम तो देखिए अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह already अपने O levels वगैरह अपनी पढ़ाई complete करके बैठे हुए. So yeah, I mean, always ask yourself what can be done more, or how you can optimize yourselves more. There's no limit for improvement in life. So yeah, hopefully, you get to register to what we've said. That's quite important, not just for the aspect of education, but also in terms of a general life fact that is going to be quite beneficial for you if you gauge that constructively, right?
And I would just like to conclude with the thought that if you think online classes ले रहे हैं, if you think your cell phone is distracting, तो आप उसको साइलेंट पे करके अपने से just keep it far away from you until you're done with your class. ये कुछ इस तरह की distractions हैं जो कि आप खुद ही overcome कर सकते हो.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let's move to the next question.
Yeah, subjects की हम बात कर रहे थे. So, what resources would you recommend students for their subject preparations?
There are a lot of resources that come in my mind, right? There are a lot of resources, fellas. I don't think I can do justice in one session. There's so many resources. But I would say आज के माशरे में रिसोर्सेज की कमी नहीं है, नीयत की कमी है. That's what I always tell students, right? Resources की कोई कमी नहीं है, पढ़ने वालों के अंदर जस्तजू वो नहीं रही, right? Look, if you talk about resources, obviously there's a good old Khan Academy for one. If you want a website where you can get revision notes, flashcards, practice, past paper drills, I would say go for Maths and Physics Tutor. I've heard of rogue papers where you can actually design your own papers and get all sorts of access to market schemes. Along with that, savemyexams.com, that is a very good international website. I think it charges you like £30 for 2 or 3 months or something like that. But it has some pretty good resources there as well. Apart from that, Maths ki baat kare, there's Mathematics, there is Math Read by Saad, there is the organic chemistry tutor, as far as maths is concerned. So yeah, I mean, these are some good resources. Then there's this website called Outclass, right, that has some good teaching material, especially for O levels, sciences and English subjects, as well as commerce subjects. So that would be a place where you could look at. But just remember one thing, it's all about that balance between studying theory as well as past papers. I would say ideally give each subject 1.5 hours a day, 1 hour theory, 30 minutes past papers, right? And cumulatively, you will see what a massive impact that has, right? Always remember discipline and long-term consistency, they matter more than short-term intensity, fellas. After that, I think there's one thing left about degrees and skill sets.
Oh, yeah. Anything that you would like to add in the debate between degrees and skill sets?
Yeah, I mean, see, this is gonna happen literally every episode because obviously a big part and parcel of what we do career counseling that involves counseling people on the basis of their degree choices, on the basis of the skill sets they want to opt for, obviously the choice of venue, Pakistan as well as abroad. So this is something that we'll keep on discussing more and more in each session. This is really important. Look, I will always say one thing, guys. Communication skills, they are very important. They are extremely important. I honestly can't emphasize enough how important good communication is, right? You see, if there is a person, he has just completed his probation period and he has to be evaluated, and the top management want to decide whether they want to make him permanent or dump him, right? They will look at certain factors. They'll look at, was he punctual? Did he take any holidays? Did he come on time? Was he professional? Did he have a good work ethic? Was he respectful towards his seniors, towards his juniors, towards subordinates? Did he take ownership of his customers, right? How good was he in terms of brainstorming, in terms of research and development, in terms of coming up with new avenues for service delivery? How effective, how pragmatic he was when it came to enforcing his company vision on a scale of 1 to 10, how solid was he when it came to crisis management? आपको मुख्तलिफ पैरामीटर्स पे वैल्यूएट किया जाता है जिसके बेसिस पे हमने डिसाइड कर दी कि इन साहब को हमने या साहिबा को हमने परमानेंट करना या नहीं, right? You ace all these factors, you do justice to most of them, if not all of them, and chances are you will, end up securing that position. If not, chances are you'll be shown the exit door, right? So similarly, याद रखें, अब आप ये नहीं कह सकते कि देखें जी मैंने कभी छुट्टी नहीं की तो इसलिए अब आप मुझे परमानेंट कर बोलेंगे ठीक है मैं छुट्टी तो नहीं की लेकिन आगे काम भी तो कोई नहीं किया ना उसके अलावा, यस। सो बहुत सारे पैरामीटर्स हैं, एक हमेशा डिग्री होता है, पढ़े, get a good grade, get a good GPA, yes, but remember the ultimate focus has to be a on having a a resume that is versatile, not just in terms of quantity but also in terms of quality, that has internships, that has quality work experience, no gaps, that has skill sets, that has hobbies, that has apart from that, I would say that has a lot of projects, that has a lot of courses and certifications and stuff and workshops. So make it versatile, yes. Don't be jack of all trades and master of none, but at the same time don't be that person who just does one thing and doesn't do anything else, right? Be versatile, but make sure you're not just a superficial person. You can probe in depth in those fields, holistically speaking, as well. उसके साथ साथ अगर आप मुझसे पूछें, देखिए मैं बोलूंगा कि डिग्री तो बस आपको इंटरव्यू रूम तक पहुंचाएगी. After that, it is all going to be your skill sets. How well can you communicate? Never ever put everything on your CV. Always save something for the interview. Because if you just put everything on the CV, there's no room for surprises. There's no room for adding anything extra. That icing on the cake, you never get that. Apart from that, जहाँ तक हम बात करें, लोग कहते हैं कि हम कौन कौन सी skill set सीखें. देखें, I would say before you are productive for the society, first learn to be productive for yourselves. First learn to be productive for the family. Start driving. Start serving your parents by giving them lifts and pick and drops, right? Start owning some pets, that instills some responsibility in you. Start gardening. Skill sets you can learn game development, you can learn web development, you can learn app development. Ask yourself, what do you want to do in future? If you're saying, what, my future goal is I just want to do this degree, you got a problem. There was a dog that was chasing a rabbit in its master's garden, in the backyard, right? Its whole life. वो पीछे भागता गया उसका गोश्त के भागता गया. It had just one mission its entire life. It's going to catch the rabbit and kill it. One day, the dog actually catches the rabbit, and kills it. And then he's confused. He's just sitting there like the Statue of Liberty. Oops, what do I do now? It had never thought beyond catching the rabbit. Its whole life was fixated on just one purpose, killing the rabbit, right? So that's what's happening.
We were focused on finishing the race. कि जब रेस फिनिश करने के बाद हमने क्या करना है, we forget to think of that.
Right. मेरा खुद ये था, बस डिग्री करते हैं फिर देखते हैं क्या होता है, right? So the degree is not the end destination. It's just a means to an end. You got to ask yourself that 10, 15 years from now, what do I want to do? Do I want to be a corporate slave? I mean, mate, we're not sure what happened. There's nothing wrong with being a corporate slave if you're putting, if you're putting food on the table, if you're serving your family in a way that is halal, in a way that is noble, in a way that is judicious, go for it. However, I think a lot of us, we want to be our own bosses. We want to, हमेशा एक दुआ होती है अल्लाह से कि अल्लाह हमारा हाथ देने वाला बनाए, लेने वाला ना बनाए. Be in a position where we can give jobs rather than just nabbing jobs 24/7. So if you tell yourself you're going to be a sustainable entrepreneur in the long term, then ask yourself, to be a successful entrepreneur, inshallah wa ta'ala, what do you need? My friend, you need communication for that, right? You need good publicity. For example, if I were to open up a burger joint in Lahore, you got Burger Lab, you got Johnny and Jignu, you got KFC, you got McDonald's, you got no shortage of competitors, right? हर दूसरी गली में यहाँ कोई ना कोई restaurant है. So how do you give yourself that extra cutting edge factor that will make customers gravitate towards you and not your rivals, right? Good marketing gets the job done. So आज से कोशिश करेंगे आप अपनी मार्केटिंग खुद ही करें, अपनी पब्लिसिटी खुद ही करें. हमने खुद एक डिजिटल मार्केटिंग का एक बूट कैंप किया था at enablers, right? And that did end up benefiting us a little bit, if not a lot. So online कर लिया, अगर नहीं बूट कैंप ज्वाइन करना, you got e-commerce, you got IDM Pakistan, right? That's offering digital marketing boot camps. So डिजिटल मार्केटिंग सीख लें, आगे का जमाना वैसे भी सारे का सारा AI का है, कंप्यूटर्स का है. Learn front end development, back end development. Those of you from Lahore, there's this institute called AppTech in Johor Town. You can go there. If it's too far, go online. Places like IBM, Coursera, learn data science, learn AI, learn analytics and stuff, right? Go for these things. Have some hobbies in your life, right? I mean, Insta and TikTok doesn't count as a hobby, right? Gardening ho gayi, book reading ho gayi, adventure, tourism, hiking, expeditions and stuff, right? Play cricket, play football or something. More importantly, inculcate humility. The tragedy with the modern day society is that we do not listen to understand. We just here to respond. देखें जिस दरख्त के ऊपर फल उगता है ना, वो दरख्त झुक जाता है नीचे. So ये एक law of nature है. Be humble, understand that everything that you have in life is a gift and a massive blessing from God Almighty, and you have to give an account of it back to the Lord when you go in your grave, when you meet Him on the day of judgment. So keep that in mind, right? Make sure you select good friends. A man is known by the company he keeps. Obviously, a woman is known by the company she keeps as well. So have good friends that encourage you towards good deeds, like working hard, engaging in ethical service delivery, displaying good morality, good character, good conduct, saying your 5 daily prayers, having that connection with the mosque and everything, being virtuous, being pious, honoring your parents, honoring your community, honoring your neighbors. Before you do anything in life, make sure you're a good human being, right? Because morality is what separates us human beings from animals. So साथ में अपने रोल मॉडल्स भी अच्छे रखें. वही मैं बात कहता हूँ यार, चौके छक्के मारने वाले जो है आपके रोल मॉडल्स नहीं है. योर रोल मॉडल्स शुड बी द प्रॉफिट्स. Your role models should be people who have done great job for humanity, like likes of Mother Teresa, likes of Abdul Stari, the obviously Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right, comes right on top of that category. So just have good role models, right? And always remember कि तालीम का जो बुनियादी मकसद है वो दुनियादारी नहीं है, वो स्टेटस और प्रोटोकॉल और घर बनाने और प्रॉपर्टियां बनाने नहीं है. तालीम का जो बुनियादी मकसद है वो है किरदार साजी. और किरदार साजी बंदा क्यों करता है? अल्लाह पाक की रजा के लिए, राइट? सो ऑलवेज accumulate knowledge for the love of God Almighty. And when pleasing the Lord is your ultimate life objective, you'll be surprised at how much bliss you attain in your life on a day-to-day basis. Because the more bliss you fill yourself up with, the more your connection with your creator gets enhanced. I would like to conclude by talking about this story of man. I think it's probably from the time of Bani Israel, right? If I'm not mistaken. So there was a pious man, a Muslim, very devout in terms of worshiping Allah and regular in his prayers and everything, very virtuous. And one day, uske ilake mein, what happened was a devil came and started making people worship a tree. That's shirk, right? That's polytheism, associating partners with God. And the believer was extremely angry. How dare he come and do this, right? So he picked up his axe and he went to cut down the tree so that people would not commit polytheism. On the way, he meets the devil. And obviously, the devil does not want him to cut down the tree. So they have a fight. And the man overpowers and beats Satan. But Satan, being what he is, the father of lies, right? He always has so many tricks up his sleeve. He tells him, you know what? let's compromise. Let's have a mutual agreement. You know what? You don't cut this tree. You just go back to your house. You worship Allah 24/7. You know what? You don't even have to work. I'll give you 2 dinars, 2 gold coins underneath your door every single day. You won't have to work. You just worship your Lord sitting at home. You don't cut this tree. That's it. Then the man got tempted. He got greedy. He succumbed to his desire, and he went back without chopping the tree down. So he wakes up the next day. There are 2 gold coins underneath his door. He wakes up the day after that. There are 2 gold coins underneath his door. But Satan being what he is, the devil being the father of lies, right? The third day, he did not give him the 2 gold coins. Now he's angry. He picks up the axe again and tells, you know what? I'm gonna cut down this tree by hook or by crook this time around. Goes there to cut it, meets the devil again, fights him. But this time, the devil beats him. This time, the man gets defeated by Satan. And subhanAllah, I mean, the fella asks the devil, कि पिछली दफा तो मैं तुम्हें हरा दी था, इस दफा तुमने मुझे किससे हराया? And you know what Satan says to him? Satan says to the man that, oh man, you won the first time because you're fighting for God Almighty. You're fighting for Allah. This time, you lost to me because you were not fighting for God. You're just fighting for a 2 dinar, 2 gold coins, right? So, moral of the story is always put the duty towards your Lord as your first priority in life. And you'll be surprised as how it opens up rooms for all sorts of amazing opportunities in your life. And always keep an open mind, guys. Experiences beget experiences. You're not losing yourself. You're just evolving. You're just rediscovering yourself. And you would be kicking yourself in the back in future if you won't try what you're doing all the way, right? So hopefully, you guys get to make informed decisions, understand, interpret, do your research, never ever make a hasty decision. And we pray to God Almighty to grant you success in your mission and to grant us salvation in ours as well. Right? Anything else you'd like to add, or shall we pretty much?
We pretty much covered everything.
Yep, that's it, guys. We'll be back in the next session, right across, off the record, on the table, and very, very hush hush, right? So thank you very much. It's lovely talking to you as always, and please just spread the word around, and we'll see you soon. Stay blessed. Bye bye.